Chapter 19, French Revolution, Josh Kill, Ayush, Sohum, Hora.
Louis XVI relentlessly taxed the Third Estate to pay for his frequent wars on his extravagance by using the taille, a land tax. This constant reaching of the Third Estate led to estate-wide poverty and massive public debt. As a result, Louis called an Estates General meeting the first in 175 years on May 5, 1789. However, he didn't feel like giving the Third Estate any representation, so he locked them out of the meeting place. Enraged, the representatives met in a nearby tennis court on June 29, 1790, where they all restored the National Assembly, which would not expand until the monarch was bound to a constitution enacting a constitutional monarch. The National Assembly then created the Declaration of Rights of Man and Citizen on August 26, 1789, which presented each individual except for women with unalienable rights. An enraged crowd stormed and captured the Fort of Bastille due to rising tensions between the king and the people on July 14, 1789, yet it was mainly a symbolistic victory over the absolutist monarchs of France and only helped in obtaining orders for the National Guard. France was still in an economic crisis and the king was powerless to change the condition of the Third Estate. As a result, the Third Estate started to attack the nobility and each other. Crime rates also skyrocketed. Due to famine, many women could not feed their children, and when a rumor came that the queen was hoarding bread came about, the women marched to the Palace of Versailles and brought the king and queen to Paris. To escape the revolution, King Louis took his and the flight to Versailles was caught and brought back to Paris. Worried about the growing revolutionary ideals in France, various nations came together to form the first coalition in 1793, included Austria, Netherlands, England, Russia, and Spain. Meanwhile, in France, Jacobins and Girondins fought for power over the National Convention. The Jacobins, who pushed for the execution of King Louis, ultimately won.
On January 21st, 1793, King Louis was executed. This then began the Reign of Terror, a period of time in which many people were killed by the Committee of Public Safety. The head of this committee was Maximilian Robespierre. Robespierre was an individual who sought to use his power for his own personal political benefit. Robespierre killed innocent people and public enemies alike. He also killed many Girondists. In total, his execution totaled up to 16,594 individuals. As a result of the execution of King Louis XVI, the First Coalition formed. However, France did not appreciate the First Coalition's meddling in its affairs and plotted to dispose of the First Coalition. Robespierre began to abuse his power more and more. The public was very displeased with Robespierre and decided to execute him. He then sent the National Convention to arrest Robespierre. However, Robespierre, fearing for his life and reputation, decided to commit suicide. However, he misfired and only succeeded in blowing off his jaw. Robespierre was then executed with a guillotine on July 28, 1794. This was known as the Thermidorian Reaction and signaled the end of the Reign of Terror. Out of the ashes of the Reign of Terror rose the Directory. The Directory was formed in order to prevent something like the Reign of Terror happening ever again. The Directory had an elected director, who then established many ministers, ambassadors, merchants, etc. Napoleon Bonaparte was elected by the Directory in order to command the French armies. The Directory gave him full command and he went on to conquer. He immediately disposed of Austria and the Holy Roman Empire. Napoleon already proved his military prowess during this time. Once he was given full and total command, Napoleon then decided to exile the Directory.
Napoleon declared himself head council and instituted the Concordat of 1801, which defined the clerical power in France. Code Napoleon established a solid legal system as well. He also created independent peasantry, which would later play an important role in French democracy. Last but not least, Napoleon was well known for his new military tactics. Napoleon later crowned himself Emperor of France, turning it back into a veritable dictatorship. Napoleon then created his Grand Empire, which stretched from Spain to Austria. He did so by decisively defeating the First, Second, Third, Fourth, and Fifth coalitions. However, there were three major factors that led to the rapid collapse of the Grand Empire. The first of which was the continental system, which did not allow British exports into the Grand Empire. The second was guerrilla warfare in Spain, which quickly decimated Napoleon's armies, taking 300,000 soldiers in just 5 years. Napoleon's greatest blunder was his invasion of Russia, as a result of them not adhering to the continental system. Napoleon marched into Russia for a grand army of about 600,000 soldiers. However, cold weather, disease, and a lack of resources quickly decimated his army. Napoleon was forced to make the Great Retreat back to France and only made it back with 22,000 soldiers. France's opponents took advantage of Napoleon's weakness and formed the Sixth Coalition, which quickly defeated France at the Battle of Nations on October 1813. The coalition then exiled Napoleon to Elba on the 30th of May 1814 and removed him as the Emperor of France. However, Napoleon escaped Elba. He arrived in France and was re-established as emperor. Napoleon then proceeded to raise an army. Alarmed, the European nations that formed the Sixth Coalition formed the Seventh Coalition and decisively defeated Napoleon at the Battle of Waterloo. Napoleon was re-banished and exiled to St. Helena, located in the South Atlantic. Napoleon spent the last years of his life there, writing memoirs. He died in 1821. In conclusion, the French Revolution was a tumultuous period of time in which many ideas were questioned by a slew of radicals. The concept of absolutist ruling fell prey to tyranny, and monarchs were therein bound to a constitution. Finally, on a political scheme, France lost much of its power. Much of the French lands were split amongst the powers of Britain and the United States. While it still remained relevant, France was no longer the powerhouse it had once been.